Today's horoscope from Astrocademy. Of all the zodiac signs, you are the only one ruled by our great luminary, the Sun. This means that you always stand out from all the rest. Also, referencing each zodiac sign's celestial ruler gives us insight and wisdom about how they individually approach sex and love. With the Sun being the greatest force in our solar, this also means you take grand, bold approaches to intimacy, relationships, and passion. You are unafraid to go big or go home, demanding to be worshipped by your partner. However, this doesn't mean you're entirely selfish. You also know how to dote on those whom you adore. There will be so much to get to. You will have plenty of people to connect with within your professional community when the moon enters Gemini. Since you will be exceptionally social, you may want to create some sort of schedule to keep track of your professional correspondences. Having reminders for your meetings, events, and more will help you feel less stressed with your busy day. If you do not have reminders or some sort of schedule, you might become overwhelmed by your professional itinerary. Create a little order to avoid some chaos. It is just as the moon is wrapping up the weekend's eclipsing full moon in your career sector with a friendly aspect to Pluto in your work sector that Venus, in her last full week in your income sector, moves into a friendly aspect to Uranus on the career front. This wraps up an important few days across the income, work and career fronts, but with things continuing to evolve as Venus not only works to make her final days as lucrative as possible but to leave you with something that you can commit to. You have so much to be grateful for. There are lots of things that are going well in your life right now. There is nothing more important than your health, however. Don't let yourself be reminded of this through illness or any kind of accident due to unconscious behavior. Drink plenty of water to keep your joints well lubricated and stay away from saturated fats, which include whole milk, cheese, butter, and cream. Use olive oil rather than butter whenever possible. The hours coming up will be decisive, notably in your work life where you should benefit from an opportunity for your career. Before getting your professional activity up and rolling, you will have to be a better listener and be more open. So, make some concessions and get rid of the little habits and preconceived ideas that you take with you systematically along your path. With a little more innovative spirit and imagination, you should be successful more easily. As is the case with every full moon, there are always two sides to every story as well as an overall message. In this case, while yesterday's eclipsing full moon was in your career sector and the moon is not only still here but is energizing things across the income, work and career fronts, this is also getting pushback from the sun and planets on the other side of the sky in your home and family sector. This is putting your work and life balance to the test, but at a time when both sides of life's fence are ripe with potential and opportunities. With the right balance, you can have it all. While the heat is coming up yesterday's eclipsing full moon, it is likely that the work and life balance tension that this more potent version of what is an annual event is still high, but the timing couldn't be better. This is a full moon that at this time of year will always put your work and life balance to the test, but in preparation for the first planetary activity on the romantic front for the year, now just 11 days away. Our eyes in the sky. Before leaving an intuitive and imaginative part of your chart today, the moon will spend its final hours at a friendly aspect to Pluto in your financial sector, as it does with each monthly visit. The difference is that this is their first encounter since Pluto turned direct, and as he will be leaving again in January, this will give you an intuitive sense that the tide has turned as well as a chance to look to the future with confidence. It is just as the moon is wrapping up the weekend's eclipsing full moon in your career sector with a friendly aspect to Pluto in your work sector that Venus, in her last full week in your income sector, moves into a friendly aspect to Uranus on the career front. This wraps up an important few days across the income, work and career fronts, but with things continuing to evolve as Venus not only works to make her final days as lucrative as possible but to leave you with something that you can commit to. It is just before leaving your work sector and wrapping up the weekend's eclipsing full moon that the moon will spend its final hours at a friendly aspect to Pluto, for the first time since his direct turn in your income sector. With the brakes off, this allows the tail end of the wave this has created to give income potential a nudge, just as Venus, the planet of money, is working to make the most of her last full week in your career sector. A tendency to push yourself forward creates an adverse impression with the people you meet. Even if it's not intentional, your attitude disrupts any potential for things to run smoothly. Try to restrain yourself. Otherwise, you're unlikely to impress anyone, since your boastful manner makes you seem conceited and unapproachable. As you cannot know what the future holds and things can change quickly, prepare to be flexible, also in financial matters. You might suffer unpleasant consequences if you make a big investment or acquisition now. If you're given this advice, remain skeptical and take some time to consider, as the information might not be the best. The moon moves from Taurus to Gemini today. This lunar switch allows us to discuss the events that unfolded during the lunar eclipse. If the eclipse energy is making a situation cause emotional hurt of some kind, it's important to let out any pent-up emotions while discussing it with friends. The more you hold things in, the harder it will be to release the energy and move past it. It is halfway between the Sun's departure from your work sector last week and Venus' return next week, that the moon makes a well-timed return to your income sector. As well as returning to ensure your nose for money is sharp in the heart of the working week, and as you prepare to move into the new month, this is a chance to get a sense of where the money is before Venus, the planet of money, returns to steer work and job matters in a lucrative direction. It's hard to bring your feelings under control calmly and rationally. If you don't, you make decisions you later come to regret. Conversely, if you're normally a calm person, who keeps their feelings to themselves, it is easier for you to show them, enabling you to create clarity, to deepen and improve on any personal relationships in which you're involved. If you plan to make some financial transactions, wait a little and think things over at your leisure. There are some obstacles in the way that prevent the matter being handled as smoothly as you imagined. Even though you'd like to buy something, far better to wait if you want a favorable outcome. Be careful with your health and avoid pushing yourself too far. Circumstances sometimes result in greater difficulties arising than you might expect, and for this reason you need to save and ration your energy. Take a step back, don't get unduly stressed. Being too ambitious doesn't help you achieve your goal.